to become a business system analyst. This is a very high demand business analyst position. Let's understand what is the responsibility of business system analyst and how to become business system analyst, who can become business system analyst. So I'll give you a walkthrough using a simple project, credit risk modernization project. Okay, so let's start with, so imagine you have just graduated from college, and or maybe you have taken a career break. Okay, so maybe you have applied 100 business analyst jobs, and you haven't received single interview. So you watch YouTube videos and you complete certification and you learn theory, but every interview ends with the same question. So tell me about a project you have worked on. Okay, so and that's where most candidates struggle. Not because they aren't smart, because nobody taught them what it actually feels like to work as a business system analyst inside a large bank. Okay, so now imagine a different story. It's a Monday morning, so you receive an email from ABC Bank. So this the email: congratulations, we would like to invite you to join our global funds and technology team as a lead business system analyst. Okay, so this the email you receive. So your heart is start racing. So then another thought appears: what if I don't know what to do on my first day? So this course answer that question, not with theory, with practice. So who is this course for? So this course is for recent graduates, professionals returning after career gap, business analysts preparing for a banking interviews, manual testers transition into business analysis, developers who want to move into a BSA role. BSA stands for Business System Analyst. Anyone who wants to work in banking technology. So the opportunity, let's talk about the salary. So a lead business system analyst in Canada can earn average of 115,000. So 115,000, let's say six figure, over 100,000. That's the average salary. So it can start. So I'm talking about entry level. Entry level you can earn between 100 to 120. So let me write entry level. So you can start no experience also. Start with 100 and 120 BSA role. Okay. But otherwise, if you Google it, you can find out it's showing 80 to 190 per year with some BSA roles need experience, but anyone can start if they have the right practical knowledge. So we are looking salary year average of 100,000. Okay, so I'm talking this data in Canadian dollars. Okay, so some if you're watching this video from a different country and different location, and this number may vary, but just to give you an idea. Okay, so one thing we want to understand: companies, they don't pay for salary, pay for theory, right? So they don't need information. So right now you have information, so we want to practice how we convert this information into skills. So what do we do with the skills? We will use those skills and solve business problems. So they pay for the people who can solve business problems. So that's exactly what this course I'm going to teach you. So if you can put 100 hours to this one to practice, not just listen and watch, and I doubt it, like no one can stop you getting a BSA role. So most people spend hundred of hours learning definitions. This is what's happening. Okay, so my request is put 100 hours on training practice, and you will definitely get a job. So our approach is different. So in approximately 100 focus hours, you will build a practical experience by simulating the work of lead business system analyst. So by end of this journey, you will know how to think like a BSA, communicate like a BSA, and confidently explain a banking project in interviews. Okay, so this is not a traditional course. You want to spend hours memorizing textbook definition. Instead, you are joining a banking technology team, so you will become a lead business system analyst on a credit reporting project. So every lesson moves the project forward. So every exercise mirrors work that business system analysts perform every day. So meet your virtual team. Throughout this course, you will collaborate with realistic project team. Sarah Mitchell, the senior manager; Tom Wilson, the product owner; David Chen, solution architect; Mike Patel, the backend developer; Rachel Lee, data engineer; Lisa Brown, QA lead; Emily Rodriguez, the credit risk manager. So they'll assign work, ask questions, challenge your decisions, and guide you through the project. Okay, so by the end of, you will feel like you have worked on a real banking implementation. So that's the main idea. So your virtual office, before we begin the project, set up the same tools many enterprise teams use. So we set up Jira, Confluence, Microsoft Teams, Outlook, and you will learn how each tools fit into the software development lifecycle. So these are the basic tools we are going to use. So your journey together will build a banking application from the ground up. So you learn how to understand business problem, analyze the business problem, build a business case, identify stakeholders, understand business goals, gather requirements, conduct stakeholder meetings, ask the right questions, gather requirements, write functional requirements, define business rules, understand the technology. Don't worry if you are not a developer. So I'll explain technical concept in simple language, so you'll understand user interfaces, UI, APIs, databases, microservices, system integration, data flow, exception flow, and most importantly, you will learn how business system analysts communicate with developers. Okay, so master data analysis. One of the biggest difference between an average BSA and highly paid lead BSA is confidence with data. Okay, so you learn advanced SQL fundamentals, data validation, data quality analysis, root cause analysis, high volume banking data, source to target mapping, reporting analysis, and support delivery like a lead BSA. You will work through the complete software delivery life cycle, create developer ready Jira tickets, support sprint planning, clarify requirements, review technical solution, work with architects and developers. On the testing phase, so you will experience system integration testing, SIT testing, user acceptance testing, UAT, defect management, requirement validation, and business sign-off. So experience product development. So many courses stop before deployment. So you will learn how to support production deployment, release management, business readiness, hypercare, post-production support. So and you will communicate like a leader. A lead business system analyst doesn't just write requirements, they communicate. You will learn how to present solution to executives, lead stakeholder meetings, resolve conflicts, explain technical concept to business users, explain business need to developers. Okay, so build your professional portfolio. By end of the course, you will have created business case, stakeholder analysis, process maps, business requirements, functional requirements, user stories and acceptance criteria, data mapping documents, SQL examples, UAT test plan, define log, Jira backlog, architecture diagram, executive presentation. So these are the kind of artifacts hiring manager expect from business system analyst to understand. Okay, so prepare for real interview. So you'll also complete recruiter interview simulation, hiring manager interview, technical interview, executive interview, final mock interview. So you'll practice answering question using the project you have built throughout the course. Okay, so your transformation is today. You may be wondering, can I really become a lead business analyst, right? So this question you're wondering. Okay, so by the end of this course you will be able to say, yes, I understand how a banking project move from business problem to production solution. So I can explain requirements, data architecture, testing, stakeholder management, and delivery with confidence. So that confidence change the interviews, and interviews change the careers. So my goal is, nothing is technical. Okay, so if you practice 100 hours, if you practice, focus, and continue all the lesson I'm going to share with you, anyone can become. Okay, so actually the employees, they don't need many years experience people. Yes, there is requirement experienced people for the project, but I'm saying you can get an entry level BSA job if you follow this one, right? So one final thought, so don't rush through this course. Treat it like your first job. So I'm going to give a journey like how actual BSA work. So that's why we are simulating this one rather than the traditional course method. So take notes, pause the video, complete every exercise, and until you become a expert on that particular subject, don't move to the next one. Okay, so participate in every meeting and build every document what I'm asking. So ask questions, practice your explanation out loud, and because the goal is in finish the course, this goal is to become the kind of business system analyst that companies are excited to hire. Okay, so welcome to the team. Let's build something together. Thank you. Number 2, congratulations. So you have been hired as a lead business system analyst. So welcome back to this lesson. So I have some exciting news. So congratulations, out of 100 of applications, you have been selected to join risk compliance technology team as a lead business system analyst. Okay, so today is your first day. You arrive at the office around 8:30 a.m. So you have your laptop ready, so your security badge and a notebook. So you don't know anyone yet, so you are excited today. So but you also have one questions running through your mind: what happens on my first day? So don't worry, I'm going to walk you through the every steps. By the end of this lesson, you'll know how exactly what happens when a new business system analyst joins a banking technology team. So your welcome email. So when you open your Outlook, you'll see your first email. So very important, when you open your when you receive a login credential, let's say you never worked in a production environment, right? But in your college life, you have handled Outlooks, right? So unfortunately, I don't have Outlook, but I will show you something like that. So let me open my email. So this email is not set up. So you are by default in your laptop, office laptops. So your Outlook, Microsoft Outlook is set up, and use your partial, your last name or like first name and your company name at some email ID. You know how to operate email, right? So I hope you know how to operate email. But if you are not familiar with Outlook, so I would recommend you to be familiar with how to work with Outlooks. Okay, so you can go to your I think I need to set up, but you will continue, you will open your email and you can set up your inbox, and you want to add folders, you can set up everything, right? So okay, so let me cancel here. Okay, quit. So you received the email. Okay, so you welcome email saying welcome to the credit risk reporting team. Okay, so we are going to work on a project, credit risk modernization project. So your team is credit risk reporting team. So you're saying hello, welcome to ABC Technology. We are excited to have joined the credit risk reporting team as our new lead business system analyst. So your onboarding meeting begins at 9 a.m. So please join the Microsoft Teams meeting using the link below. We look forward to meeting you. Sarah Mitchell, so Senior Manager, Risk Compliance and Technology. So next tool, you need Microsoft Teams. So you have worked, I believe you have worked on Microsoft Teams, but if you're not, you can. Microsoft Teams is free. You can register Outlook account, and you can practice how to set up a Microsoft team and how to join a call, but I'll show you today. So this is my personal account. So this is my calendar. So I just set up a meeting just to demonstrate. So you receive this email. So let's say there's a join button. If you receive the email invite, you have to accept the meeting. So if you don't accept also, unless if you decline the meeting, so this email you receive to your Outlook. I'm talking about email. Okay, let's assume you receive this email to your Outlook, right? So if you're wondering how can I join the call, right? So don't click decline. So click accept, and you'll see like this something. So let's say your meeting is set up for Wednesday 9 o'clock. So you can see your meeting on your calendar. Okay, so what you need to do when the times come, let's say 9 o'clock, you need to join. So click join, and you'll see the join now button. You can join. Okay, so that's how you will join. All right. Okay, so if you're wondering, as a business analyst, you need to set up a Microsoft team meeting, right? How to create a meeting? Just go here, you can see new meeting, and add the title, like let's say workshop. Give a meaningful project one. Okay, so give your title, enter your email ID, who is going to join. So you can just write Hotmail or Gmail. So if you're within your, let's say you are inviting Sarah. Okay, Sarah. Okay, so at abccompany.com. Okay, so you see you can add like this. So within your organization, because we met the stakeholders, right? So the previous lesson, the stakeholders who is going to join. So your virtual office. So these are the so you want to invite solution architect, right? Whoever want to so you can add the person. Let's say Tom at ABC. This is your company, and so when you type the name, and make sure you are inviting the right person. Okay, so you set up this one, and so now you have body. So hi team. Oh, hi Sarah. So let's say you are going to set up the call with Sarah and understand the current Sarah. So you can write I'm setting up something. Okay, I am setting this call, setting up this call to discuss about whatever you want to discuss. Okay, current process, or like discuss about new project, or whatever you want to discuss. Just write the purpose why you are setting, and if you know the questions, so these are the questions you have in advance. It's good to send the questions in advance because they can prepare for the question. So otherwise, sometime I will include the agenda here, what I'm going to discuss. Okay, so I will send the questions here, and you can just write your name. Thanks, Jay. Right, this is how you'll set up the meeting. Okay, so you'll have your title, and you set up the stakeholder name, and here make sure because there's a scheduler, if you set up this call, and this is the free version, you don't see, make sure the paid version of your Teams, it will show if the person is available or not. It will show in green. If it is busy, it will say red. In the paid version, you can see a scheduler. So click the scheduler, and because if you are setting multiple people, like 5-10 people, where the common problem is very hard to find available time for everyone, right? So what you need to do, you need to click the scheduler. Unfortunately, I cannot show you the scheduler here because let me see if I have the scheduler. Okay, so I don't see the scheduler. So click the scheduler, or otherwise select the time. You have to, if you don't see the scheduler, then you have to click and see the different time until it shows available. Okay, otherwise it will say busy when you select this person. Okay, it say busy or available. It will say green if available, busy it will say busy, red color. But this is the free version, so that's why it's not showing. Okay, so you got the idea, right? And also if you're scheduling the call on future date, and make sure you change the date, and it's by default it will show 30 minutes. So if you need 1 hour, so you have to make sure to 2 to 3, so 1 hour. Usually half an hour, 1 hour, it's based on yours. So you can add one sentence like if this time does not work for you, please suggest a new timing so that I can reschedule, something like that. So otherwise, if you use the scheduler, and we believe everyone's calendar is up to date, so if time is available, so they are available. So if they are out of office, they will say that's mean out of office. Otherwise, if it is green, you can select the green one. Okay, so I hope so finally you need to send. So when you send, this call is this meeting is scheduled. Okay, so let me show you. Let me close. You see, we schedule the call for tomorrow. So this is how your call will show in your calendar. So, and they will if they decline, it won't say, but if they accept it, they will say. So you have to keep an eye. So sometime they will send decline and with reason, so you have to reschedule it. If you open the call, here you can go and see the link is already set up. Here you see there's a link generated here. This is how they will join, but in the right side, you are the organizer. Here you can see whether Sarah accepted the meeting. So if not accepted, so you can go to the chat message and type her name, Sarah, and just ask her, hey, I send a meeting invite, I hope you can make it, or like are you available, something you have to follow up. So if sometime they they miss your invite, right? So if they don't accept it, mean they didn't see. So you have to make sure you have to ping in the side and ask like, are you available? Should I reschedule or something? If they say yes, and ask her, can you accept the meeting, so that you know they're accepted. So 100% you are confirming, because sometimes you send the email, they got the email but they didn't accept it, so they will not come to the call, right? So you have to, as an organizer, you have to make sure whoever the required stakeholder should be in the call, in order to, otherwise the time waste, you have to reschedule it. Okay, so that's one side note. I hope you understand this one. So if you want to reschedule the meeting, so you can go here and right click and edit here, so you can change the timing here. So instead of 2 o'clock, if she's asking, I can make 2 o'clock, can we meet 3:30 to 4:30, change and send update. So this will change to the meeting will change here, from here to here it will. If you have to cancel, you can click cancel. When you click cancel, usually it will ask, so can I make a undo? So it will ask reason. Okay, so you can write it's not showing the reason in the unpaid version, so it will ask the reason why you are canceling. So just say like, other stakeholders not available, so I'm canceling that one, so that everyone know why you are canceling. Or if you are rescheduling, just enter the reason, because you already sent the invite, so you are again rescheduling. So those are some side notes how to work with Teams. Okay, so let's move on to let's continue our lesson here. Okay, so now so your first day agenda. So today schedules look like this one. So you 9 a.m. you meet your manager, 9:30 meet the project team, 10 o'clock receive your project overview, 11 system walkthrough, 1 p.m. access setup, 2 p.m. review project documents, 3 p.m. team questions, 4 p.m. your first assignment. So this is very typical first day for a business system analyst. Okay, so this is how your calendar look like. Okay, so meet your manager. So you join the Microsoft team meeting, so you know how to join, right? So click this one, click join. Okay, join the Microsoft team. Sarah Mitchell smiles and say, welcome to the team. So we are happy you are here. So our team builds technology solutions that help risk department monitor millions of dollars in mortgage and loan portfolio. So she's giving a quick walkthrough. So your job is to understand business problem and work with developers to build right solution. So don't worry if you don't know everything today. So we'll help you. So notice something important. She didn't ask you to write code, right? So our job is not write code, so we have to solve a business problem. So she didn't ask you to configure servers. She wants you to understand the business and communicate clearly. So that's exactly what business system analyst does. So meet your team. So every successful project adds a different specialists. So you will work closely with Tom Wilson, we already introduced. He decide what features business needs. David Chen, solution architect, he designed the technical solution. Mike Patel, backend developer, he builds the application. Rachel Lee, data engineer, she managed the banking data. Lisa Brown, QA lead, she ensure everything works correctly before production. Emily Rodriguez, credit risk manager, she represents the business user who will use the application every day. So you are the bridge between all of them. So different people, right? So there might be other people in the team, but I'm just giving a try to simulate a production environment. Who are the different people you will interact? Okay, so your mission, Sarah shares your first assignment. Our credit risk reporting application is being enhanced. So we need to enhance the current credit risk reporting. Before we build anything, I want you to understand the business Tomorrow you will meet our stakeholders. So your job isn't to provide answers. Your job is to ask right questions. So that sentence is one of the most important lessons for business analysis. Right, in business analysis, a great BSc doesn't start with the solution. A great BSc start with curiosity. So what you will learn in the next lesson, you will begin exploring the business problem. You will learn why credit risk reporting application exists, who use it, what problem it solves, why the bank investing million of dollars to uh, improving it. This is where every successful project begins, not with technology, with understanding the business. I'll see you in the next lesson. Understanding the business. Okay, so why does the credit risk reporting application exist? So welcome back. Good morning. It's now your second day as the new lead business system analyst. So yesterday you met your manager and your project team. Today you'll attend your first stakeholder meeting. So your goal is simple: ask right question, right? So understand the business before you understand the technology. This is one of the biggest mistakes new business analysts make. They immediately ask, what database are we using? Is it a microservice? What program? If you don't understand, I don't expect you to know this one. So if someone has already worked like a tester, if you are watching, you know what I'm talking about. So what programming language is application built with? Those are good questions, but not today, right? So today you focus one question: why does this application exist? Okay, so 9 a.m. a meeting with the credit risk team. So you walk into the meeting room. So already seated are Sarah Mitchell, senior manager; Emily Rodriguez, credit risk manager; Tom Wilson, product manager, product owner; David Chen, solution architect. Sarah smiles. Welcome to your first business meetings. She turns to Emily. Emily, can you explain to our new BSA with application? So why application is so important? So Emily's story. Emily begins. Imagine MEC has issued 1 million mortgage across Canada. Okay, so every customer promised to make monthly payments. Most customers pay on time, some pay late, a few stop paying altogether. So as a bank, we need to understand our risk every single day. She pauses. So if we don't know which mortgages are becoming risky, we cannot make informed business decisions. So this is one use case I'm talking, one scenario. Okay, so the business problem, Emily continues. Years ago, our analyst downloaded data from different systems. So one file came to the mortgage system, another came from the customer system, and that came from the core banking platform. Then someone copied everything into Excel, someone else checked the numbers, someone built charts. Finally, a report was emailed to management. She laughs. It worked until we had millions of mortgage accounts. Right? So the challenge is Emily writes our problem on whiteboard. Okay, so let's say this is happening. Room, right? So problem one: reports takes too long to prepare. Imagine, right? So these are different, coming from different systems. Sometimes several hours, sometimes an entire day. Problem two: different system produce different numbers. Risk analysts spend valuable time investigating which number is correct. So problem number three: manual work introduce errors. Right? One incorrect formula can change an executive report. So problem number four: management wants today information, not yesterday's, not last week's, because it takes time to gather the data, right? Today's. So Sarah explained the goal. Sarah says this is why we are investing in the credit risk reporting platform. So instead of people creating report manually, we want technology to collect data, validate it, calculate risk, and present accurate information through dashboards and reports. So then she looks at you as a lead business system analyst. Your responsibility is to understand what business needs before our developers begin building. So this is your task. So your first questions, you begin asking questions. Who use this application? Let me highlight. Emily answer risk analyst. So this is your end user. Risk analyst, your end user. Risk managers trends, review trends. Okay, so risk analyst and managers. Executives use dashboards to understand portfolio and health. Okay, so compliance team rely on it for regulatory reporting. So you write down each stakeholder. So there we have four executives and compliance team, right? So because every stakeholder has different needs, so four people here. So understanding the data and journey, right? So David SA, I will use solution architect as SA, joins discussion. He said the credit risk reporting application doesn't create mortgage data. Okay, so it receives mortgage data from other banking system. He draw this on whiteboard. So here mortgage or origination system. Now he's talking about the system, core banking system, customer information system, and integration layer. So these are different databases. Think about databases or something like that. I will show you. Okay, so databases will work with databases. Okay, so databases are where we store information. It's like your memory card. If you have a personal laptop, right? So you have a hard disk where your data is stored. If you have a phone, you have memory on your phone, right? When you buy just put it, you don't need to be very technical to understand this concept. Even grade 5 can understand, right? When you buy your phone, you decide how much memory you will buy, right? The more memory, 256, 512 and 1 GB something, right? So that's how a computer has also memory, right? The computer have hard disk 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, something like that. So in an enterprise application, it has a server. It's a larger computers need, right? So large server can store data. So we use databases to store. So different information we store in different databases. Okay, so that's one system I'm referring to, mortgage origination system. So there is application, we create mortgage application and we store mortgage data there. Okay, so next one, core banking system. Next one, customer information system. So integration layer mean we combine all three data. We get different data from different tables, different databases, integrate one. So this is the credit risk reporting platform and risk database. So after generating the report, risk is calculated. This information saved in a different database, risk database. So from here we usually the end user, the people who use this data, we need to provide them how they can see the data. So they will not query the data. Yes, if they need, they can query, but more effective way we give a dashboard. Dashboard means like something you see user interface, like it's okay. So he explained our application is the place where data comes together, gets validated, transform it, and present to the business. So now the architecture begins to make sense, right? So your notes at the end of this meeting, your notebook contains these key points: business goals, so provide accurate and timely mortgage risk reporting; business users, risk analysts, risk managers, executives, compliance team. These are the end users going to be main problems: manual reporting, data inconsistencies, slow reporting, limited visibility, expected benefits, faster reporting, better data quality, improve decision making, reduce manual effort. So today's assignment, Sarah gives you your first assignment. I want you to prepare for tomorrow's workshop. Come with questions. Don't think about solution yet. Think about understanding the business. So key lesson today, you learn something very every successful BSA system, business system analyst, understand technology is not starting point, the business problem is. If you don't understand the business problem clearly, the technology becomes much easier. The technology becomes much easier to understand. So you need to understand the business problem clearly. Coming up next, in the next session, we'll attend the first requirement gathering workshop. you learn how to ask effective stakeholder questions, how to guide business decision, how to identify hidden requirements, how to avoid making assumptions, how to experience business system analyst lead requirement workshop. Get your notebook ready. Tomorrow you are leading your first requirement meeting. Okay, so for tomorrow we need Jira and we need Confluence. So let's set up Jira and Confluence first. Okay, it's a free version and the production was may slightly different, but for practice this is good enough. Okay, so head over to Google. Okay, so just type Atlassian. This is the company provide you Jira and Confluence here. Okay, so I click here. Okay, so because I have my email, so that's why it's showing my account. So you can just click here. So I want to create a Jira board. Okay, so get started. So you can use your Gmail account. Okay, so it's saying welcome back. Okay, next is creating the Confluence page for me. So first I want to go to Jira. So when you start the Jira, okay, it's coming to the Jira board directly. So I want to create a brand new page. Since it's already created, let me see if I can add a team here. Okay, so here I'm creating, when you log in, it will ask what type of team name. So let's put credit risk. Okay, so I'm going to add Jira space. So it's saying create Jira project. Okay, so I don't know how is your settings going to be. We are not selecting Kanban, so you need to select Scrum. Okay, so let me show you. Just making small so that you know what I'm clicking. So here when you start, it will ask Jira or not. So I'm creating, click Jira. Let me make a little bigger now. Okay, name your space. So we are credit. Let me know if you are facing any problem. Okay, credit risk team. Okay, so I don't know if you can see. Let me make it small. So use it. See. Next. So click next. So don't select Kanban, select Jira. Okay, bring your team along, get started. So here we don't have any email, so we can I'm clicking I'll do later. Okay, I'll click next. Okay, so now that's it. So let me make bigger. Okay, so you see your credit risk team is created. So you have board, and this should be the backlog. Okay, so okay, list is the backlog. Okay, I hope this is the backlog. So usually it says backlog, but we have board here, to do done. Okay, so this is what we'll play around with this one. So now we have Jira created. So now we need a Confluence here. Okay, so let's, these are for project manager. Click the Confluence. So what do you want to try first? Pages. Okay, so we need the page. Next, invite your teammates. That's okay, we'll do it later. Okay, so you have 3 days free trial. Okay, get started. Okay, so we see we have created this, how the page look like. Okay, so you see it's asking me teammates because we are going to attend our first requirement gathering workshop tomorrow. So we need here, so you can see here you have created your first page, right? So this entire thing we call as a space. Okay, so inside the space, so you are in the credit risk space, and you can create pages, as many pages you want. Okay, so I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to create one page. Okay, let's publish this one. So let me see. Okay, I'm sorry because it's not the version I work daily, so it's something different. So that's why just play around. We just need a page here. So here you can see create button. So I want to have a page. Okay, click the page and give the page name. Let's write credit risk. Don't worry if you don't know how to do this one. Okay, these are important, but it's not very important. Okay, so just click publish. So you can see left side the page is created. Okay, don't worry if it is messy or you're not understanding. So the idea is create a space. Okay, so when you register free account, the space is created, and come to your page here. Under your project you can create. Okay, so here we created the page. So how do you enter the notes here, right? So here you can come here, you can just type your notes, whatever notes you are going to type. Okay, you don't need to put notes, and just showing how this works. So once you are done, click update. Okay, so otherwise when you come to the page, you see it's by default it's giving meeting notes. If you want to use it, otherwise that's okay, but I would prefer a plain page. So here it's for the notes, right? So I'll create an empty page here with the title what I want, and I'll enter my capture note. So if you want to, under this one, if you want to enter one more page and create this the page number 2, whatever you want, and flowchart diagram. I'm just showing, play around this one. Okay, it's not standard, people do mistake. So here you see under credit risk, add the flowchart diagram, and current ways you can follow the hierarchy, right? So this is very simple. Okay, so that's how you create Confluence, and you can go to Jira, and it's from the same company. Okay, so we are in credit risk, and your board. I'm not sure, is it the summary is the your backlog, or list is the backlog? I guess list is the backlog. Let's see, you can create what you need to create. Okay, so this is your backlog. Okay, all right. So for the time being, we are good. We set up Confluence and Jira. Again, the steps are simple. Just go to Google and sign in with your, so I sign in with my, switch to another account or something, sign in with your Gmail account and create the Jira space. Okay, and Jira, again, you have to remember, you have to Scrum, you have to select and follow next, and you can land in a page like that. And left side you can see your team board. Okay, and so then you can, if you want to add one more, you can add here. So next we went to Confluence. So you created Confluence page. You can go to your Confluence from here. So we are in is this the space? Yes. So here you have to click the space here, and you are, if you're taking notes or whatever page you want to come, here you can come. Okay, I hope this understand. Let me know if you have any question on the chat. Okay, because this is not the paid version, again this is just a free version, so easy to navigate. But if you're working first time, if you're wondering why we need Confluence and Jira, because in the Jira, here is the place we create all the developer tasks, right? So this is the board, everything will come. I guess list is the backlog, list of user stories and working items will go here. You plan it in a sprint, and when the sprint start, it will go to the board. This is how you will manage your development. Okay, and why do you need Confluence? Because you can capture everything, so everyone can have a centralized document project, so everyone can collaborate, everyone can read, so easy to understand, right? So that's why in software development we use Jira and Confluence. Not only this one, there are other software management tools, but these are the popular one. So it's free, but the enterprise version is slightly different than this one. It has different features, but this is the basic idea. Okay, I hope this is clear. So that's the end of lesson number 3. Thank you. Your first requirements gathering workshops. So welcome back. Good morning. Today is your 3rd day as a new lead business system analyst. Yesterday you learned why credit risk reporting application exists, right? So this is where a business system analyst create value, not by having all the answers, but by asking right questions. Okay, so 9 a.m. requirement workshop. So first day, first in the morning you start the workshop. So you enter the conference room, everyone is already there, and let's quickly go through our stakeholders. Sarah Mitchell, Senior Manager; Emily Rodriguez, Credit Risk Manager; Tom Wilson, Product Owner; David Chan, Solution Architect; Mike Patel, Lead Developer; and Rachel Lee, Data Engineer; Lisa Brown, QA Lead. So Sarah look at you and saying, "Good morning. Today you will facilitate workshop." Okay, so relax, nobody expect perfection here. Okay, that's you need to understand. So we simply want to understand business. You take a deep breath, open your notebook, smile, and begin. Okay, so you start the meeting. Let's understand how you have to do. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Today's objective is to understand current reporting process, identify challenges, and define what success looks like for the new solution. So before we discuss technology, I would like to understand your business process. So you are saying this one, okay? So the room become quiet. Emily begins explaining. So you know, right, who is the Emily? Okay, so Emily is the risk analyst. Okay, so let's continue our story. So Emily is explaining the current process. So you have to imagine, okay, so you're all sitting in a room, and you're facilitating the workshop, requirement gathering workshop. So you guys are try to understand the current process. So now the current business stakeholder try to explain the current process. So Emily start. Every morning, our analysts download the mortgage data from different banking systems. So we said we are going to use the mortgage as, for example, this one. So then we compare balances. Okay. So we verify customer information. We calculate exposure. Finally, we prepare report for management. So you don't interrupt. You listen carefully. So this is a conversational, right? So listening is one of the most valuable business analyst skills, remember. Okay, so now you are asking some open-ended question instead of asking, is the report slow? So you ask, can you walk me through your typical morning, right? So you don't need to provide any solution here. You just need to identify the gap, right? So gap analysis is very important. So you need to understand what they are doing today. So Emily smiles. That's a much better question. She explains each step. So you now understand complete workflow. So now you are asking more detailed question. What is the most time consuming part of the process? So Emily replying to you, validating the data. So data, you understand, right? Data is nothing but it's a piece of information. So different systems sometimes shows different balances. Yesterday we talked about what are the different systems, right? So you write pain point number one, data inconsistency, right? Because finance report one report, mortgage system report one data, right? And the customer system report one data. So we want to know what is this right value for the reporting purpose. So we have to have one data, right? One data inconsistency. So you also ask what happens if the numbers don't match, right? So I mean the answer, we investigate manually, right? Like let's say finance is saying this is our portfolio balance, this much 1 million loan we issued for 1000 customer. But mortgage system, loan system or from the core banking it's coming, we should loan for 999 people and it's 990,000. So there is a discrepancy here, right? So what they are doing, Emily was saying, they are investigating manually today. Sometimes it takes hours, right? So 1000 customer you have to find. So let's say this is your mortgage system, this is the finance report, right? So you have to see what customer is missing from which system, right? If you find the customer and you can see the amount, or if you know the amount and you can see what customer, vice versa, right? So that's the first one. So now the pain point is second one you are saying. So data does not match, we understand that's one issue, and second one, manual investigator. So you are continue asking poking more questions. What happens if the report is delayed, right? So let's say someone extract the report from mortgage system, they have to share it somewhere, or either they have to send it by email, or it's saved in a shared directory, and the other person or the Emily's team is preparing the report, they should access it, right? Sometime like what happen if the system, the person who is downloading the report from finance, a different person, the person downloading the report from mortgage system is a different person. So the report is available, data is available from mortgage system but not the finance system, right? So those kind of thing happen. So our answer, executives don't receive timely information. So you as an analyst, Emily's team has to ping wherever the data is missing. Here, could you send the report as soon as possible. So which delays import risk decisions, that's what will happen. So these are typical banking operation manual work. So next one, the pain point is business impact, delay in decision making. So clarify business rules. So you are asking what type of rules you apply uh, after you get the data, right? So what they do with this one. So let's understand. Okay. So you ask, how do you define a high risk mortgage? So how do you consider mortgage is high risk? So risk analyst Emily is saying if a mortgage is more than 90 days past due, okay, it's automatically classified as high risk. So these are they are analyzing delinquent files. So delinquent files mean customer, they lend money, like they um, took a mortgage to buy a house. They're supposed to pay on whatever they agreed date. So they didn't make payment. So the first notification sent, second notification, several attempts made to contact the customer. For whatsoever reason, customer is contacted, but customer is not making the payment or not contacted. There is some other factors too, but this is the business rule, right? Like that's the question we are asking, right? Which loans are there are past due, right? Like customer payment didn't go through, that's past due is 1 day old, right? Let's say today is August 4. My loan should I should pay the loan to the bank mortgage, but payment didn't go through. I get NSF or notification to my bank account tomorrow morning. So 1 day past due, right? So there can be other reasons. Maybe money was not available on my account. So there are some other reason, but this is the business rule. If customer could not make the payment within 90 days, so that's they're classifying as a high risk. So instead of relying on memory, you repeat it back, right? So just to confirm, okay, you are confirming it days past due. If days past due is greater than 90, so you have to double confirm, right? So past due, there can be past due even 1 day. You supposed to payment should go clear from your account August 4th, but if coming next day, so 1 day past due, that's also classified as past due. 2 days, yes, past due. 1 month past due. So we are talking about another factor, high risk. So you are confirming that rule. What is that number? So the risk category equals high risk, right? So you are saying risk category greater than 90 days. So this one we are saying high risk. So this is one information you got. Okay, if it is equal or greater than 90 days, we are saying it's a high risk. So Emily is saying correct. So now you just validate your first business rule. Okay, so let's continue. Let's see what's happening. Okay, ask about exception. Exception mean this is the happy path, right? Like for example, this is let's say this is a person, customer, supposed to reach to B. Okay, so you have linear path, like a straight line. This is the path you are saying customer should go. That's happy path, right? So let's say for some reason customer could not reach here. So what will happen? That's the exception. So happy path is nothing but whatever the defined expected result we are asking. So customer should go A to B. What will happen if customer could not reach A to B, whatever given condition? That's the exception, unhappy path, right? So we have to tell the clear requirement, what is the business expectation for the happy path, and as well as for the unhappy path exception, because this is a rule, right? Like a rule is in coding, you write if the past due greater than or equal to 90, classify high risk, and that's we have to give else condition, else also to the business logic, right? Otherwise code keep on looping in this same area, right? Going to be crash. So when developer write code, always they need to give the if they are giving a condition, they have to write if, which is the happy path, and they have to give the else. If this is not met, what should the code should do? So that's exception handling, else, right? So that's all about this we are talking. So what if the mortgage has been closed, right? So Emily replies, closed mortgage should not appear in active portfolio reports. So we need to take care, right? So when we are this is data mining, right? Like what is what is the data input, right? Data input, we should have our rule to have only active loans, or like other way around, or we should say should not include closed loan, should not include closed loan. So this is data collection, so data cleaning, right? We should not include for this one. So Emily, closed mortgage should not appear for portfolio reports, that would say, right? So you write another rule exception here, right? So I already written here, exclude mortgage accounts from active risk reporting, right? That's what we captured. Okay, so now we are clear. So every conversation is important, so it's not only listening, so you are taking around. So you see, while I'm talking about this in use case, I'm taking notes in right side, right? So that's what I took, and without I'm seeing this one, so I took the exception handling, right? So now the developer Mike is asking question. Okay, let's see what question he has. What happens if the customer information is missing? Okay, let's see why customer information is important. The room becomes quiet. Emily thinks the mortgage should still appear, but it should be flagged for investigation, right? So we are creating a report for the management, right? We want to know how many loans are at risk, right? Like past dues. Does the customer information is very important? Yes, we want to know which file is pending, but this doesn't stop the report, right? Because bank is not going to see like we will be seeing individually, but the report concern is we want to know how many uh, how much is the total, like a dollar amount, right? Like that's what the management interested. How much is the total dollar amount at risk, right? Risk and number of loans, right? This is what management interested. It doesn't matter you give to 10 customers or you give to 100 customers, right? Yeah, but we can have a detailed investigation why this loan was failed. Did the loan officer collect the right document? Did the debt ratio was calculated? Who approved this loan? We can go for investigation, but that's another thing. But report concern, this is good, right? So the that's what Emily is saying, right? The mortgage should still appear, but it should flag for the investigation. So we are including that mortgage. We are counting against the risk dollar, and we are including that loan number also. But we are missing, like it doesn't matter which name, which age, but we need. Okay. So now you are smiling. Why you are smiling? This is why developers attend requirement workshop, right? Their question often uncover missing requirements, right? So this is good conversation we should ask. Okay, so this is really good conversation. So now let's see. So I'm just trying to give you example, like you have to be in the call, right? Like and try to give a simulation how this can be go. So let's try to get one question what QA might ask. Okay, so Lisa Brown say I'll need test scenarios. Can we document examples? You just absolutely you create your first example. You create your first example. So she's asking test cases, right? So you can, because you need as well to write in your acceptance criteria. Okay, so example scenario, mortgage number, okay, outstanding balance, past due, past due, okay, status active, expected result, risk category high, displayed on dashboard, yes. So it's kind of a checklist, right? So this what we discuss. Yes, if you have customer number, we have to have that one. um, Loan should be status active, expected is high, and displayed on the dashboard, right? So whatever we discuss, she's asking how can you give how should I prepare a test case, right? So that's example scenario documented. Listen note, perfect. That will help us to build our test cases. So let's summarize before we have end. Never end a workshop without summarizing. So you have to give a recap, and because you have to send a discussion of summary, right? Notes, because if you don't send it, no one will agree, right? There are more conversation going to come, and you have to keep on documenting what we discuss, what we are agreeing on. Otherwise, it's going to be a mess, I would say. So let's recap. So we are recapping. So you are saying before we finish, I would like to confirm what we agreed. Okay, it's kind of a verbal sign up. So you read your note. I'm reading my notes. So faster reporting. This is better data quality, accurate mortgage risk classification. Okay. So this is the business goal. Pain points I noted: manual reporting, duplicate data, slow investigation, delay executive reporting. Okay. So business rule: mortgage over 90 days past due, high risk, closed mortgage are excluded, missing customers should be flagged. Everyone agrees. So Sarah Smile, excellent work. You have captured the requirements clearly. So this is the expected outcome, like every conversation you have to do. So your first deliverable, Sarah gives you next task. Please convert today's discussion into formal business requirement. We'll review your document tomorrow. This is the first real deliverable from a business system analyst. The meeting is over. Your documentation work begins. Okay. So the key lesson, let's summarize. Today you learn a business analyst should listen more than they speak, ask open-ended question, never assume, validate business rules, ask about exceptions, summarize before ending the meeting, confirm understanding with stakeholders. These habits build trust and reduce misunderstanding later in the project. Okay, so your homework, post the course, imagine you are a business system analyst. Write answer to these questions. What is the biggest business problem discussed today? Okay, please write it. What are the 3 business rules you identified? What exception did the stakeholders mention? What information will QA team need for testing? Please answer this question. So, if you were the developer, what additional question would you ask for this scenario? Okay, write your answer before moving to the next lesson. So, what's coming up next? In the next lesson, you will transform today's meeting into a professional business requirement document, BRD. You learn how to organize requirements, functional versus non-functional requirements, business rules, exceptions, dependencies, scope, requirement numbering, requirement traceability. This is where your notes become professional project documentation. So that's the end of lesson number 4. Thank you. By writing your first business requirement document, okay, so BRD. So again, I'm just reminding, if you are going to work in agile projects, you don't need to write BRDs, but some countries I saw the job requirement saying you have to write SRS, FRD, BRD's document. But if you are going to work in Canada, specifically in banking projects, you don't need to write BRDs. So everything is agile. Okay, so agile, you write user stories, but it's still a good practice, right? Like follow the recipe, right? But I'm explaining you some kind of document, so this will give you a clear idea, right? So documentation is the key. We don't need to write 20-30 pages BRDs. Okay, so let's go through this format. Simply you can document on Confluence, or you can write in a Word document. This is what I recommend. Still this completes your work. Okay, so let's continue our lesson story today. So yesterday you facilitate your first requirement gathering workshop, right? So you ask questions, you listen carefully, and you identified business problems. So you documented business rule. Yesterday's meeting we got business rules, right? So now one of the most important responsibilities of a business system analyst is turning conversation into clear, organized requirements. That's your skills. A good meeting is valuable. A well-written business requirements document is even more valuable because it becomes the foundation of design and development and testing and implement. Everyone need a documentation. So today we are going to create that document together. So you inbox a new email, you open Outlook. A new email has arrived from Sarah Michelle, your manager. Prepare business requirements document. Hello, thank you for facilitating yesterday's workshop. So you go to your Outlook. Okay. Please prepare for the first. Yesterday she told this end of the meeting, right? So please prepare the first version of the business requirement document based on our discussion. The documents will be reviewed tomorrow by the business and technology teams. Regards, right? So this is she mentioned during end of the meeting. So you smile. This is your first official deliverable. Okay. So open Confluence here. Okay, so this we are going to use Confluence so that you can share it with everyone. So most enterprise team don't store requirements Word documents anymore. Okay, so they use collaboration platform like Confluence today. Create new page title, credit risk reporting platform, enhancements. So business requirement document version 1.1. Okay, so let's do this one. Let's go to Google, type Atlassian, and let me go to Jira first, and from there, so it's saying welcome back, Jay. So remember yesterday in the video we create a page, right? So let's go to Jira first. From Jira we can go to Confluence, but enterprise softwares, you don't need to go to Jira first to go to Confluence. Okay, we just without complaining what we have, right? This free is really good to practice. Okay, so this is our team, and let's see if we have our Confluence. Okay, let's go to Confluence from there, and so this is, I think this is what our space is. Okay, right, remember we created a page here, credit risk projects. So what's the title we need to use? So let's use this one. I'm going to copy and paste this one, the title. Doesn't matter which title you use. Okay, so I go to this page and click the edit button. Okay, so instead of credit risk project, I rename the page to credit risk platform enhancement. So that's your page. Okay, let's follow. Okay, so the business requirements document version. So let's copy this one to version. Under this one, I'll enter here as a title BRD version 1. So I'm not going to update, so finally we can update this one. Okay, to save time I'm going to copy and paste it, but while I'm copy and paste, I will explain. Okay, so it's the first section, business problem. Okay, so every BRD start with one simple question: what problem we are trying to solve, right? Why are we doing this project? Okay, so that's the business problem. So I'm going to copy business problem, copy. So business problem. So this is a title. I'm going to highlight this one and underline. Okay, press Ctrl B, Ctrl. Otherwise, you can go here and do. Okay, where we are here. Okay, so now the current. Let's understand. We already know. So how we write this one. The current mortgage credit risk reporting process rules on manual data collection from multiple banking systems. So this rules delays reporting, inconsistent data, and increase operational effort for risk analysts, right? So this is what we understood. Okay, I'm going to copy this one and write it under business problem, and also I'm going to copy this line too. Okay, so what's the problem and what's happening? Okay, all right, so let's update this one. Okay, so now we have our business problem. Easy, right? Okay, so now let's continue our discussion. So Sarah walks by your desk. Sarah says, excellent. Always explain the business problem before explaining the solution. So that's what you need to do, like what's happening and what is the pain point. That's the format. What's happening today? What's the pain point? So section 2, we're going to write the business objective. So now answer another important, what does success look like? So everywhere I am providing a question. So that's what, if you don't know what's the business objective, write business problem. That's the, if you answer to this question, and you will get the answer writing, right? So write business objectives. Okay, let's write business. I'm going to write business objective. Let me see if this is copied properly. I'm going to click edit now. Oh, I don't like this one, so I want to have without that formatting. Okay, perfect. Brown, let me highlight and bold it. Okay, brown. Okay, so let's see how you document the business objectives. Okay, so reduce manual reporting effort, improve data quality, deliver faster mortgage risk reporting, provide timely portfolio insight, support regulatory reporting requirements. So one is, these are business outcomes, not technical solutions. So I'm going to copy one by one. It's going to take time. You like to use numbering here. I'm going to use numbering here, or I'm going to use bullet instead of that, otherwise the format will be messed. Okay, so I'm going to copy one by one, and let's go this one. So if you are asking why, because if I copy everything one shot, maybe this will be difficult when I copy paste. So I'll be using one by one here. Okay, next one, provide timely insight portfolio. Let me copy this one too. Okay, next one, the last one, support regulatory reporting requirements. Okay, all right. Okay, so we completed the business objectives. Okay, so next section of our BRD is section number 3, project scope. So if you are wondering what is the project scope, let's understand what is the project scope. So every project needs boundaries, right? Like in scope. For example, mortgage portfolio reporting. So risk classification, dashboard enhancement, mortgage exposure reporting, data validation, executive reporting. So these are in scope. Right? We cannot cover everything in one single project. So what is out of scope? What we are not going to cover for this same scenario, right? So out of scope, for example, mortgage application processing, right? So we are only going to concern active loans. Remember, right? After the loan closed, loan approval workflows. We are not going to cover interest rate calculations. So you have to you have to document this one. Customer profile updates, right? The I say David says architect clearly defining scope prevents misunderstanding after, right? That's why what we are going to build, what we are not going to build, you have to list it carefully in the BRD. Okay, so I'm going to copy in scope next section and out of scope. Okay, so let's write the titles. See, I think I have to copy from here. Okay, so in scope is ready. Let me highlight and all right. Okay, I'm going to use bullet points here so that we know. Let me try this one. Copy. Let's see if this works. Okay, I don't need the formatting. Okay, crop and see if this works. It didn't work. Let me see. I can copy from here. For some reason it's not working. Okay, you bring this one up. You can use numbering also. Okay, how many items in scoping. Sometimes Jira mess up the formatting, so I don't want to use numbering. Instead of that, I'm using this format. Okay, you can use whatever you like. All right. Okay, so now we completed the in scope items, but we are going to cover in our project. Okay, you see, I don't know how to remove this one. That's why. Okay, let's leave it. Okay, let's update and see how this is going to look like. Okay, so this is something, I don't know how to clear this one. It's not going. Yeah, I cannot get rid of this guy. Okay, never mind. Okay, let's move on to the next item, out of scope items. Okay, okay, so out of scope, let's copy this one, update, oh sorry, edit. Okay, select this one and bold. Let us select bold and underline. Okay, okay, out of scope first item, I'm going to do the same thing. Copy, paste it here. Okay, let's see if this is going to work. Okay, otherwise we can copy one by one here. Okay, I think this is faster. All right. Okay, third one is interest rate calculation. Okay, fourth one, customer profile updates. Okay, All right. Okay, so what's our next section in our BRD? Section 4, stakeholders. So create a simple stakeholder table. I need to enhance this one. Let me write this section stakeholders. And underline. We're going to do the same thing. Okay, I'm going to copy as it is. Copy. Okay, we don't need to spend more time on formatting, but you got the idea, right? All right. Okay, should be good. You can put a table if you want. Let's see if you want to. If table works, I will skip. Okay, I think this is clear. Okay, the format is off, but you got the idea, right? Stakeholders. So now let's move on to the fifth section. Actually, this is what we need to capture. Okay, now time to number your requirement, right? So I would number the requirement. I need how many requirements we have. So some teams they use business rules. So BR, it's up to you what numbering you want to use, BR1 or FR1. I'm going to use BR01, this format. Okay, business requirements. Okay, so I have first one, the system shall display total mortgage exposed by the risk category. Okay, so I'm only going to copy this guy from here. The section business requirement. Let's see what happened. Okay, I'll use this one. Okay, BR business requirement 02. Oh, the system shall classify mortgage that are more than 90 days high risk. Okay, so these are coming for our requirement session. BR03. Okay, so close account we are not including. That's one more requirement, right? That's what we have written. Close from active portfolio. BR04. Okay, okay, the system shall identify records missing so we want to include to the total even though customer information is missing, right? But we shall figure it as flag as for investigations. Okay, so 5 sections we covered. Let's make a recap again. Business problem, business objectives, in scope items, out of scope, stakeholders, business requirements. It's kind of a template, right? It's good. Okay, I like it. Okay, so now oh yeah, so here you see, I think we we don't use language like I think we write right. We start with the system shall. Okay, if you notice. Okay, the system shall. This is the proper writing for the BRDs. This if you can write it this way, everyone understand. Okay, so now business rules. Let's discuss. Okay, so is that something different than the business requirement? Slightly. Okay, so requirement describe what the system should do. Business rule describe the policies behind those requirements. So today's business rules are, so I'm going to write business rules. Okay, business rules section, copy. One conversation, one workshop, you have all this information, right? So okay, I'm going to use same numbering, rule number 1. Okay, I'm going to use copy and paste here. Mortgage overdue more than 90 days, high risk. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, the second rule, closed mortgage accounts are executed from the active reports. This is a art, right? Art means like the same discussion and you are documenting in the different way, right? So if you see business requirement and business rule, like business rule is this number, this is what go to the code. It can be 40 days, 50 days, right? So here this is the, and maybe this, instead of high risk we can say approve, reject. There are so many decisions. So this is the rule and this is the requirement, right? So it's two things. Rule number 3, missing customer must be flagged review. So what is the data, what we should do, that's the rule, right? This missing customers. Rule number 3, then rule number 4, okay. So 1, 2, 3 business often. Okay, so we don't need for we have 4 business rules, right? So we already documented, right? Okay. Okay, so there is no rule for fourth one. So we have 90 days closed account, missing information. So it's already covered here. Okay, so we can remove the rule number 3, 4. There's nothing. Okay, so let's go to the next section. Okay, assumptions. So you have to document this one too. Not everything is known during the first workshop, right? So document your assumptions. The source system provide accurate mortgage data. Customer IDs are unique. Risk calculation are performed daily. Stakeholders will review and approve requirements before development begins. Writing assumptions reduce the future confusion. So this is very, very important because then you are covered. If you are thinking, document it. That's it. That's your job is just to be transparent. Okay, you have to keep on documenting everything. So next one, assumptions. So assumptions, source system provide accurate mortgage data. Customer IDs are unique. risk calculation are performed daily. Stakeholders will review, approve requirements before development. Writing assumption reduces future confusion. Okay, so let's copy these ones, our assumptions here. So I'm going to use cut and paste here. Okay, let's see if I can put bulleting. Excellent. Okay, that saved me a lot of time. Alright, so next one, dependencies. Projects rarely work alone, so our application depends on core banking system, mortgage origination system, customer information system, data integration service. So if one of these systems change, our application may also be affected. Okay, so we have to document. So let's document dependencies. Okay, I'm going to copy. I'm going to do the same thing. Alright, let's cut and paste it here, highlight and see if this works. Excellent. Okay, so dependencies. The next section is risk. So good business analysts identify risk early. Examples: risk poor data quality from source systems, like mitigation, implement automated validation checks. Risk changing business rule during development. Mitigation, review requirements with stakeholder before each sprint. Risk delayed stakeholder upload. Mitigation, schedule review session early and communicate regularly. Okay, so I'm going to copy as it is. So everything you are documenting what you are going to do, like a plan. Okay, so it's transparent, everyone knows this is what's going to happen in the project. So risk, okay, so now let's move on to our final section. So that's it, our sections we need to include. Let me update this one. So you can write approver or versions and appendix, if we are going to use there are so many acronyms, short names, codes, links. You can list it here on the document. Okay, so what are the useful links and everything, but high level, if you can complete this template, this saves lot of time answering so many questions, right? So I would recommend everyone, even though in agile you don't use it, but if you have to, for a small enhancement you don't need, but if you are going to work on a big project, so I would recommend you to do this one. Okay, so let's go through business problem, business objectives, in scope, out of scope, stakeholders, business requirement, business rules, assumptions. Okay, dependencies, risk. Okay, these are the one. So the next day morning, everyone gathers to review your document. Sarah asks, Emily, do this requirement reflect your business need? Emily reads through the document. She says, yes, this accurately captures what we discussed yesterday. Mike, the developer, says that requirements are clear enough for me to begin solution design. So Lisa QA leads add, I can already see how this requirement will become test cases. That's exactly what a great BRD should achieve, right? One document, multiple teams, shared understanding. So key lessons today you learn: a BRD captures business need, no technical design. Every requirement should be clear, specific, and testable. Business rules should be documented separately. Scope, the project scope from unnecessary work, right? Scope project like unnecessary work. This will clear requirements. Assumption, dependencies, and risk should be never ignored. A well-written BRD aligns business development, architecture, and QA teams, right? So your assignment: create your own BRD using today's template. Complete the following sections. This is your let me highlight this, and this is your template. Okay. Business problem, business objectives, project scope, stakeholders, business requirement, business rules, 3 assumptions, 2 dependencies, 2 risk. This will become your first document in business analyst portfolio. So what's coming up next? Next lesson, in development teams join the project. So you learn how to convert business requirement into functional requirement that developers, architects, and QA teams can implement with confidence. So you'll discover the difference between business requirements, functional requirements, non-functional requirement, technical constraints, right? So this is where business ideas begin transforming into working banking application. Okay, thank you. Welcome to lesson 6. Now we have BRD, business requirement document. From the BRD, let's understand how to create a functional requirement document. Okay, so let's continue our story. Good morning, everyone. Yesterday we completed our business requirement document. The business team approved it, so congrats, that's a good news. But there is something many new BAs don't realize. A developer cannot build an application from business requirement alone, right? So imagine I tell a developer improve mortgage risk reporting, right? So they will have questions like how to improve it, which screen I should improve, I should work, which data, what is the data, and which for which users. So many questions, right? What should happen when someone clicks a button? So what if data is missing, right? What should be saved in the database? The business requirement explain what business wants, right? Functional requirement explain how system should behave. Is it clear? So today you are going to create your first functional requirements document, which is FRD. Okay. So again, I want to highlight, like if you are wondering, should I create BRD, should I create FRD, SRS, you name it. There are different documents across companies they are using. This is what as a BA you need to understand. For example, if you are working with integration project with multiple vendors provide a BRD, how what is the business goal, and they provide separate FRDs or system specs, how their databases, how many, like what are the fields, and what is the API request look like, sample request and sample response. There are so many technical details and business details. So in the BRD you have business requirement, in the FRD or like a technical spec you have. So as a BA we should understand it doesn't matter what type of document we are reading, right? If it is BRD, you can identify the business, what the purpose of this one, right? What the solution we are building. System behavior, maybe if you don't get a separate FRD in the BRD itself, like sometimes they say user manual, in that section system behavior, that's the functional requirement. So ultimately we need to have functional requirement, like we need to explicitly tell how the system should behave, expected behavior. Like 3 things we need, right? Input, right? What's input we will provide, what is the process, right? Process mean we can say business rule. So what's happening, right? When you provide when you give the data, right, input, you give the data, so how this data is processed, or is there any rules, right? And what's the expected outcome? This is a simple fundamental, right? So you need to understand. So what will happen if invalid, exception handling, right? I will exception handling. So this is the happy path. You give data input, system process it. If there is any condition rules, you need to consider what's the expected outcome. If you don't, if the user, the person who's used the application, we call it as a user, don't provide the right data, type error. Okay. So if the person is not giving the right data, what will happen here, right? So exception handling. So what will happen? That's the error path. So this is the happy path, error path, right? Every document, every behavior, every technical document, you can find this one. What you try to understand what we are giving, what information required, what is the process, like how this is processed, is there any business rule there, and what's the expected outcome. If you don't provide the right data, how the system should handle. Here also we have to write the expected outcome for the error path also. These are the things, right? So you will get business requirement. From there you have to derive the system behavior, which is the functional requirement. So this is what the developer has to code. Okay, so now let's continue our design workshops. Now 9:30 today, so we are going to join as a BA. You are going to join with the technical team for a design workshop. Okay, so Sarah, I'm not going to read it, the our stakeholder, so pretty much everyone is present. Our Sarah, your manager, product owner, solution architect, lead developer, data engineer, and QA lead, and you as a business analyst. So David is our SA solution architect, the technical design architecture design. So David, start the meeting now that the business is saying has approved the requirements. Let's define how application should work. Okay, business requirement, you display the first approved requirement, right? So second requirement here, it says the system shall classify mortgage that are more than 90 days past due as high risk, right? So let me go to Confluence. Okay, so go to Atlassian, go to Confluence. So I continue with my Gmail account. So is there anything asking? Okay, let me go to Jira. From Jira, this is the project credit risk. Then I'll go to Confluence. Okay, so Confluence, this is the space we have. Okay, so this is the BRD yesterday we created. Okay, so we have high risk mortgage, so let's go to that one, business requirement. So this one, mortgage that are more than 90 days past due as a high risk. Okay, so that's the, let's see how we can convert into functional requirement. So that's a good business requirement. Now let's make it functional. Okay, it should work now. So we are configuring, we are going to code, we are going to configure, we are going to make the application work. Okay, so functional requirement, you begin asking detailed questions. What information does the system need? So where I am coming, right, like the previous example I was saying, I'm looking for the data, what input. Okay, so that's the first question. What information does the system need, right? So we know the expected result, right? So here we have all the information. We have the input, what is the process, what the business rule, and what's the expected outcome. So now let's separate everything. Okay, Emily answer, mortgage number need, customer ID, outstanding balance, past due date, mortgage status. Okay, so you are asking when should the calculation happen. Rachel replies, every night after daily mortgage data load, right? So your build, think about your program, right? Like your method, in coding we call it method. Okay, so this is a method is the function, right? So function is, think like it's like a machine. Okay, so you are building a machine, you give some data here. So data is your input. Okay, so you give the data, give some data, and it will give output. Hey, this it will flag this one high risk or not. That's what the your program is going to do, right? So what data you will provide, these are the data you will provide, that's the input. Okay, here that's your input. These are the three question you need to ask. But this method has a switch. Don't think like a physical switch, like maybe think like a remote control button. Okay, but inside the application. So this button, when do we need to trigger? You heard the word triggering in application, right? So we need to configure this program to run so and so time, right? Like maybe there are many way functions are invoked, like triggered, right? Maybe an external robot will trigger, or like some external system is should call, right? There are different use cases. For the different use cases, different method, or like a live stream, or it's subscribed and it come and grab the data, right? Like there are different method. Okay, so we can learn more, but we just want to know when this function should work, right? Like because throughout the day the mortgage applications are funded, right? Like every day it's funding. System is keep on running and scanning. Let's say today is August 5th. So system is running next day, right? Like every day it's running, and to scan see yesterday's mortgage. The due date was due date. Right, due date. I don't know if you are following me, but this is the easiest way I can explain to you. So due date is 4th of August. Okay, so this is the dates customer supposed to pay the money. Okay, so the next day system will run on scheduled time to see how many loans cleared, payment clear. Let's say you have 1000 loan, so it will check, okay, we got the payment, yes, we got the payment, yes, yes, yes. If not, and this will flag as let's say one loan it's not cleared and it's a past due day 1, right? This process will happen. So this data is the input for our data, right? Like this is the defaulted loan, but these one keep on accumulating in a database. This is the right data for us, right? So this system, this scan run like I don't know, let's say midnight. It's run next day morning, or like a midnight, or scheduled time 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Output of this data is the input for this new functionality we are building, new function. That makes sense, right? Again, I'll repeat. After scanning, if anything defaulted here, this is the output of this function to read the data and reconcile and see which loan didn't go through for yesterday. This process keep on running. This will run today and tomorrow and future it's going to run. And output of this one will come as a input. So now when the input come, this will keep on scanning, right, like throughout the day, or like it will run as a batch. See yesterday's one cleared or not. So this one, when should this function should see how many days past due. That's what it's going to scan, right? It's going to read it, the past due date. If the past due date is greater than 90 days, equal or greater than 90 days, and it's alerting as risk category. It's saying risk, medium, low, or something like that. Right? So that's why you need to have when should this run. So that's the question you are asking. When should the calculation happen? This is the calculation it's happening, not this one. So we have a prerequisite. This is a prerequisite, or we have a dependency. This should run. We assume this run and we have some data. So no one is manually feed. We are automating. Okay. So let's continue our lesson. Every night after daily mortgage data load. So the mortgage data loading mean like it's scanning the previous day the payment has been cleared or not. That's the mortgage data. So Mike is saying where should the result be displayed? Oh, on the risk dashboard. I'll show you sample dashboard. Okay, so you have just start building the functional requirement. So one discussion, right? This our second this one. How many, like so many things we need to clarify, guys. It's very easy. You need to understand this 3-step. What's the input, right? What's the functionality? That's the right word we can say, right? We don't need to talk like we don't need to build a method. Like we can use the word functionality or function, something like that, right? So unexpected outcome, these three, remember, if you are building a functionality, if you are writing a requirement. Okay, all right. Okay, so now no functional requirement example. Okay, the first functional requirement, the system shall calculate the mortgage risk category during the nightly batch process. That's our first requirement. So what I'm going to do, let's document this one. Okay, so so I'm going to create one more page here. Okay, page. Okay, so you can see this is the new page for us. So keep the time. So it's not very technical, guys. Okay, SA solution architect or the tech lead will prepare the design. They give they have a sequence diagram and they have functional flow chart documented. Okay, so here what I'm trying to give. So many students are asking, show me a sample of FRD. Okay, so we are we are we are we are not creating a technical document. We are just creating this document to create user story, functional requirement. Okay, all right. Okay, let me publish this one. All right. Okay, so the first functional requirement. Okay, I'll use the number here. Let's go to edit FR01. Okay, let me copy and we can discuss there. Okay. Okay. So the system shall calculate the mortgage risk category during the nightly batch process. So nightly batch process, this the developer should know what time is the nightly batch, right? Like there might be several batch, 8 o'clock. Like we have after 5, we are call evening batch. There is a batch, evening batch, 8 o'clock batch. Or no, you have to specifically say what time is. Okay, so that's very important. That's a requirement. And second functional requirement, I'm going to copy this guy also there. So we'll discuss. So we have to get into more detail, like the timing and everything. If you are the developer will ask these questions. So the next one, the system shall classify mortgages with more than 90 days past due high risk. So this is kind of a business rule, right? This is we know we talk about. So next one, next functional requirement. After calculation, what we should do, what system should do, right? So we have to like it's like a baby, right? Like we have to spoon feed, we have to tell everything. Doesn't have an intelligence. So that's what we are providing. The calculated risk category shall be stored in the risk database. So today, after this lesson, we'll talk about the databases. Okay, database is like where you store your information. It's like a file, right? You have a folders, right? Like you have a main folder. Inside the main folder, you have files where you store your information. Okay, so we talk about this one. So next functional requirement. So it's not only our requirement, right? Like we calculate. So I'm talking about this one. We have the input data. Your functionality did the job. We have the result. It's not the end of the game here. This is not what we are doing. We need to display it somewhere, right? That's a dashboard. So that's what. So you have to be carefully. You have to document that one. Okay. So otherwise, the developer will ended up storing the expected result in the database. But if we don't implement this functionality, right? Displaying this result in a dashboard. Dashboard, you know, right? It's like a menu card. You have seen the menus, right? When you go to a restaurant, on the TV or like in the card. So dashboard is like where the user can view the information, or it's kind of a report. Okay, so we have all. So here, if you, I don't know if you notice the difference. Business requirement describe the goal. Functional requirement describe the system behavior. Okay, so screen walkthrough. Okay, so this is also very important. David opens the application. This is our current dashboard. He points the screen, current columns, mortgage number, customer name, balance, status. We need another column. You ask what should be called risk category. So your document immediately update, right? The dashboard shall display new column risk category. Okay, so this is one more requirement, functional requirement. So everything I'm saying, like you have to cannot give assumption, right? So what you need, any changes, label change, cosmetic change, functionality change, data change. So you have to capture here. So we are adding the dashboard shall display new column named risk. They're saying this column does not exist today, right? So that's a functional requirement you need. So now we are understand screen walkthrough. Now what user has to do this one. Okay. Now you think you ask what should happen when risk analyst clicks mortgage, right? Emily, they should see the detailed information. What detailed information, right? So you are selecting a mortgage record shall open mortgage details page. So you have to capture this one. So unlike business requirement. Okay, let's go there. So inside the detail page, customer name, mortgage number, property address, outstanding balance, loan to value ratio, past due, risk category. Okay, so we need this information. I'll use this one. These are the details you want to see, right? You need to include. I didn't add for the previous requirement, but when you're writing requirements, the user stories, you need to include this one. Okay, so these are the details, mortgage details. Okay, so these are the mortgage details. So now we have the happy path, the error handling. Remember I was saying, right, that you have to ask the error path also. So you should ask, it doesn't matter you experience or not experience, you should ask this one. So now you're asking from Rachel, what happens if something goes wrong, right? Sometimes customer information, you need to understand what is that error scenario. So sometimes customer information doesn't arrive from the source system. You ask, what should user see? Display the mortgage but show warning, right? That's another requirement. So if customer information is unavailable, we discussed this one. The system shall display the mortgage record and warning for the message stating, right, unavailable. So this is the expected message. We need to investigate. Users need to investigate, right, with the warning message. So I'll copy this one. So this is another requirement. So how important this document you see, right? So we are not even technical this one. So we are still recording. Okay, customer information. So now we go to the validation rule. Okay, what data validation do we need, right? Like in the process, inside the process, mortgage number cannot be blank. That's mandatory. Okay. So we have to copy this one. Mortgage number cannot be. So under validation, what's the number? We have 7. So error handling. We have already I documented function. So here one is if this is a one, second one, mortgage number cannot be blank. So if mortgage number is not available, and also one more, outstanding balance cannot be negative. Negative mean like we are some system is flagging because amount does not match. It doesn't know whether customer did paid or we collected overpayment as a bank, right? So we are implementing one rule also saying that if it's a negative, we don't need to send this one to dashboard because it's customer. We taken money twice, so withdrawn extra. Okay. Next one, Emily says days past due cannot be less than 0, right? So sometimes system doesn't know, so we have to if the 0 days, you cannot send to the dashboard. Okay, so that's fail. So these are all business rules. Error handling, you need to document this one too. Okay. Okay, all right. So we have funds non sorry, the error handling we captured here. Let me update this one. Error handling number 7. Error handling or exception, you can name it anything. That's fine. Okay, that's 7 function requirement. 8. Okay, so now we are going to write functional requirement, non-functional requirement. Copy paste is easy. Okay, so what if the report takes 5 minutes to load, right? uh, Everyone laugh. No one will use it, right? Like if it's slow. Now you introduce non-functional requirements. These don't describe features, right? It's not non-functional requirement. So we need to capture. They need to handle in the system also. Okay. So the describe quality. For example, the dashboard shall load within 3 seconds SLA. Okay. So let's write non-functional requirement. Usually time how fast system should work, less than 2 seconds or 3 seconds. So this one different topic. I'll put like this. Okay. Second one, the application shall support 2000 concurrent users. Okay. So let's everyone is try to access the dashboard, right? Like I don't know, 2000 people will use the dashboard simultaneously, but we need to handle it that one, right? So let's assume that number is 2000. Okay. Next one, only authorized risk users access the application. So user control, user access is there. We know everyone cannot see this one. User access control. Okay. All mortgage data must be encrypted during the transfer and storage. Okay. So this one very important also, right? Like we are we are fetching the data from one system to another system, so data should be encrypted. That's very important. All right, let me save this one. Now the traceability. So the PO is asking how do we know every business requirement has been implemented, right? So you create a traceability matrix, so you can track of this one, something like that. Business requirement, functional requirement, you can map to this one, right? So that's way very systematic. I'm going to copy. So instead of, I'll create one more page here. RTM, requirement traceability matrix. Okay, I write this short form. So now if you come to this page, we know this is mapped to this one. Okay. So because we got business requirement from BRD, we have functional requirement, and this is how you trace and mark it up, and you can put the Jira links here, right? So that's how you can manage. So now let's wrap up our meeting. Dave says, excellent work guys, the business told us what they need. You have translated that into clear functional requirement. Now the development team can begin design the solution. Sarah adds, this is why business system analysts are so valuable, right? You see, these are different folks they are talking, right? So that's why, like, we start with the business case, and we came to the final this functional requirement. That's why the BA role is very important. Okay. So they translate business language into system language. That's the main output. So key lessons today. Today you learn business requirement answer. What problem are we solving? Okay. How should the system behave? Okay. How we how well system perform. Okay, so a great business system analysts understand all three. Okay, that's the key lesson. And your assignment is create 5 functional requirements for today's project. Include dashboard behavior, user action, validation rule, error handling, data storage. Then create 3 non-functional requirements covering performance, security, and availability. These attributes. These documents will become another artifact in your professional portfolio. What's coming up tomorrow? You will meet the solution architect for your first technical walkthrough. You will finally answer the question like, what is a microservice? Where does the mortgage data comes from? What is an API? How does the data move between banking system? Why does the credit risk report application have its own database? By the end of this next lesson, you'll understand architecture of a modern banking application without writing single line of code. Okay, and now I will show you how the application should looks like the mock-up application. So here you see this is the old process, right? Manual using Excel run old process, and let me show you the old process and the new process. Okay, so the new, let me click the old process. So here you see risk analyst, download Excel, download the mortgage system, downloading customer system, copying into Excel, manual validation, creating the pivot tables, build report, emailing management. So this total time completed in 6 hours, right? So you see these are the sample record, right? The mortgage ID, customer, balance, past due, right? And we are the risk category, right? It doesn't say what is the risk of this loan record. The new process, the flow will work. Here you see we have now risk category, right? This is 10 days past due, 120. We have high risk. This is what we are mainly working for a first phase, right? And we have this is the flow: API request send, mortgage system return data, running risk engine, business rule applied, saving into risk database, refreshing dashboard, executive dashboard updated, completed in 10 seconds. All right, okay. And here you see dashboard like this, just a mock page just to show you. Total mortgages we have 4, high risk we have total exposure 2,260,000. Okay, just to give you an idea. Okay, so that's the end of our lesson number 4, functional requirement. Okay, I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you. So today's topic is, after we create the functional requirement, the SA solution architect and the technical lead, they work together. They will prepare a technical design. Okay, so now let's understand the technical design. So today's topic we are going to discuss understanding the technical solution. Okay, so we are not going to look at developer view, so we are going to look at in the business view. Okay, so today is an exciting day. For the first time you are going to sit with a solution architect. Many business system analysts feel nervous before meeting like this. Okay, so they think I am not a developer. What if they asking about APIs, right? Technical question. You have this one. So every development these are involved. So if you are wondering, if you are nervous about this question, so these are very simple, nothing technical if you understand the concept. Okay, so what if I don't understand databases? Do you have these questions? If you have ever felt that way, you are not alone. Okay, so when everyone start like even myself, when I start also, I had the same questions. Okay, so don't worry, you can learn this one. This is not a big deal. So here is the good news: you are not expected to build the system. Okay, you are expected to understand enough to connect the business with the technology. That's exactly what we are going to learn today. So 10 a.m. architecture walkthrough. So you enter the architecture room. So there is by I'm saying, because this meeting is led by solution architect, or like or staff engineer, or senior senior developer, uh, but just put it this way, some technical folks. Okay, but you are also invited. So David Chen, solution architect, is waiting. A large monitor display the system architecture. That's my welcome. Today I'm going to explain how our credit report platform works. He turns with the whiteboard. So let me show you the simulator here. Okay, so this is what end product going to what we are built. So this is the flow diagram. This is not the actual system, just a simulator, I want to say. So here uh, here the customer are taking mortgages. That's the first step, right? And core banking receive this one. Here we have customer information, because you see in our dashboard we need this one, right? Customer demographics. So that's why we need customer information. We need the mortgage amount, mortgage ID. That's why these systems are involved, right? Next one, the collateral system, right? Then combine this all data, because these are coming from in the mortgage dashboard. Here you see, right, we have different numbers. So these two are coming from here, right? The mortgage balance, mortgage ID, customer information, demographics data coming from here, and we have amount, it's coming from core banking, and we have collateral system, which have our number of past due and other stuff. So these are coming from different systems. So the API gateway is the because these data collected in the front end and in different format and different way, but in order to process this data, we need to transform this data. So that's the data analysis part, data cleaning, right? So that's why our next meeting is with the data engineer. So we'll talk more about how to clean this data, how to do the data analysis and those stuff. So just think, this is the API gateway, put all the data together, transform the way dashboard is required, because here is the transformation happening, right? So because here is the rules are there, because we gather all the data and we run a rule to see how many days past due, and it's filtering only active loans, only past due, see greater than 1 day, right? So some sort of transformation happening. That's the API gateway. And integration layer, everything put together and stored in the risk database. Then this go to the risk engine and see to populate to executive dashboard, right? So these all happening behind the scene. So you see API request is completed, risk database, risk engine, calculated high. So here is the rule is applied here. In the risk engine we have less than greater than 90 high risk, and between 30 and 60 medium. So we didn't talk about that rule. I don't want to get you confused, but think all the business rules are in this evaluations are happening in the risk engine. Okay, here data transformation is happening, then data save in the so the integration layer, data transformation, API request, API get this all data and give here. Okay, so this is what this is the final dashboard. This is what our solution architect going to explain. So is it technical, guys? Yes, behind the scene if you understand the solution, that's more than enough. Okay, so for us it's not nothing technical, like it's, think about, we are getting this data from different file folders, different in manual world, this different department, it's, this is Sarah, this is Ram, this is Rami, so there is a orchestration layer, get everything orchestrated here, right, and store it there and run rules, some rules. So if you imagine this manual world, this is what happening, but this is the digitalized version, but systematically a developer has to do. That's the walkthrough today. Okay, let's go back to the here. Okay, our technical design meeting. So step 1, where does the data come from, right? So we talk about what are the systems data coming from. Okay, so think, usually there is no this kind of diagram they will show, but there is a flow chart diagram. So I want to show you, this is simple, nothing technical. If you heard the word technical, don't worry. Okay, so they just focus about the functionality and not the implementation. How to do, that's not our problem, right? So that's technical folks can take care, but what functionality, that's we need to take care of it. Okay, we mean I'm talking about business analyst. Okay, so here David asks you a question: does your credit risk reporting application create mortgage data? You think for a moment, right? We don't create mortgage application, reporting application does not create mortgage data, right? Here, correct. Our application does not create mortgage; it consumes mortgage data from our other banking systems. He draws the first diagram. Remember, so this is a prerequisite dependency, right? So we, for our engine, one of the previous lesson I was talking, right, somewhere here, I forgot. One of the functional requirement I was talking about, this one, right? So we consume input mortgage data, we process, and this is what happening, right? So let's focus on our diagram. So customers, okay, mortgage, I hope this is clear to you. The mortgage origination system create the mortgage application. This is still, we don't take this data. Okay, so core banking system store the active mortgage. Okay, customer information, customer detail, demographics data, collateral system, property information. So Davis says these are the called source system. Okay, so if you are working with data, if you heard the word data, data is nothing but it's a piece of information. So you should ask what is the source system, because that source system we have a dependency for our technical components. Very important question when you are gathering requirements. So please, what is the source? Okay, they own the data. Step 2, why cannot we report directly? So you ask, if all the information already exists, why don't risk analysts log into each system? David laughs. Imagine opening 4 different applications every morning. It's in production. Okay, now imagine doing that for 1 million mortgages. He continues, we need to one place, like we need one stop shop, right? Because data is everything, and also faster, real time. We need this one. Otherwise, customer will leave your company, right? So we need to provide the customized solution immediately. So step number 3, the integration layer. David adds another box, source systems integration layer. He explains the integration layer collects information from every source system. It validates the data, it transforms into command format, then it's sent to our reporting platform. So the integration layer collects information, right? So let's go to the integration layer. Let me reset. The integration layer collect all the data, right? Transform. So do you understand what is transform, right? Because these data, some data is string, like a text base, some data is numeric, number, digit, integer, float, right? Different data types and different length. right? So we need to map, data mapping is happening to the target system. So what is the target system is our database, risk database, right? um, so we need to, like, the system has to transform this one. So transforming mean A to B, just convert some format, right? Like the whatever the end system downstream is required, the transformation is happening here, right? And also it validating the data, right? You understand validating, right? Because we cannot take close loan, right? So it will sort out, right? um, Common format, then it's sent to our reporting platform, right? So you ask, so this is where data quality checks happen. Exactly, that's why business analysts work closely with the data engineer. So next lesson we'll learn about the data transformation, data analysis, which is data cleaning, and data transformation we'll learn. Okay, the next step is APIs. So I'm planning to give a separate lesson about APIs. Stay focused. Okay, so David draws another component, mortgage system. So API called risk reporting platform. So he says an API is a simply a way for an application to request from another. So API is like a messenger. We talk about this APIs in different videos. It's just like a postman, or it's like a waiter or librarian. You can take whatever analogies you understand. It's like a carry the data from one system to another communicator. It's like a messenger. Okay. So let's understand this application. An API is simply a way for an application request information from another. Think of it like ordering food. You don't walk into the restaurant kitchen, right? So you place an order, the kitchen prepares it, and the server brings it back. The API is the server. As a business system analyst, you don't build the APIs, but you should understand what information is requested, what information is returned, what happens if the API fails. Those are great question to ask in the meeting. Okay, so if they are talking about APIs, you have to ask what is the request, what is the response. Next step is microservices. Okay, so let's understand what's a microservice. The lead developer joins the meeting. He says we wouldn't build one giant application. We we build small services. He sketches this: customer service, mortgage service, risk calculation service, reporting service, notification service. Each service has own responsibility. If the risk calculation service changes, the customer service doesn't need to change, right? If you build all the functionality in one application, think about one box. One box means, let's say we are building a washing machine. Let's say we are building a washing machine. Okay, so the buttons, we can build it on the washing machine, everything together. Otherwise, what we can do, we can build the buttons functionality separately, and we can assemble to the big giant washing machine, right? That's how the modern electronics and stuff built, right? So the phone itself, no one is one, for example, the phone manufacturer, right? So they don't, one person does not build the entire mobile, right? So there is a separate team. They're only in charge for building the camera, checking the quality of the camera. One people, they see the process, another people see other components, right? Like it's like building, because if you distribute the work to different sections, different department, or different individuals, it's more efficient and the productivity is high, and also they will do the better job because they are again and again and doing the same thing. So that's the same component, same approach, strategy applicable for when software development, also when our applications are built. So single application, one person monolith. So this is the microservice is you are built like the platforms, the services are separately, right? So if any changes, we for example, if customer services change, we don't need to change these services, right? So we can just like fix this service only. Okay, so we'll understand more about microservice in upcoming lessons. Okay, so that's one of the advantage of a microservice architecture. Microservice is nothing but it's the architecture. Okay, it's a system responsible for one particular task. Okay, so that's the microservice. Name itself is saying, right? Micro is mini, right? Service functionality. As a business system analyst, you may write requirements for one service without impacting the others, right? So now next step is databases. Let me recap where we are coming. Okay, so step one, what we talk about the data. That's a source system. So from here you need to understand what is the source system. Okay, that's the first lesson. First question, why can't we report directly? Okay, so that because we cannot build directly, you need to log into different system, and also the data is huge, right? So we need a data warehouse. So that's the question answer in step. Data warehouse means centralized place. You got it, right? So source system, we are going to put it in one centralized data warehouse. You heard one single database is the data warehouse. Warehouse, you understand, right? We put, it's like your basement. We all the garbage, all the things you want to store, you put it in one centralized system wherever your cabinet or something. So this is where orchestration, we put the data together coming from different system. That's the second question. Third one, integrating. We are integrating the transform, so the data cleaning, like here integrating mean we are, it's coming from different system, right? Like let's say we are representing, there are 4 people representing different countries. Okay, like country A, country B, country C, country D, right? So we have a conference. Okay, here this conference, we cannot, the person, the 4 countries hosting, they cannot speak in 4 languages. Yeah, there will be translators, right? If the person can speak 4 languages, so this is just a redundant, but everyone should understand when the speaker is speaking, right? So what we can do, we can only do one common language, right? Like a kind of English or something. So that's the transformation. So the data is coming from different system in different format. The integration is the transformation happening, the common format here. Okay, next one, API. Like API, we explain how data transform one system to one system, right? So that's a request and response. Microservice, now we put together everything, right? Data coming from the source, and it's transferred through the APIs, then it's go to the integration layer, it's transform, and it's stored in the data warehouse, like one central system. Okay, so now we are coming to the databases. Databases is the place where we store the data. So Rachel, data engineer, opens the database diagram. She explained after data is validated and transformed, we stored in the risk database. You ask, why not read directly from the core banking databases? Because whatever you are seeing, these also databases, right? So that's the question we have. That's a valid question, right? After data is, yeah, so after data is transformed and everything ready, why we need to store in the risk database? Can't we read directly? So why not read directly from the core banking database? Rachel answering, because operational systems are optimized for processing and transformations, right? Reporting systems are optimized for analysis, right? That's an important decision here, distinction, right? So every database has own purpose, right? Databases made it for storing data, right? But when we this database frequently It's writing data and reading data. Writing means storing data or modification happening. That's the storing part, right? Writing, I would say writing, and reading, viewing, and data is fetched, right? So these are this should happen within milliseconds, right? So if you distract the operations, right, like this is for different operation. Customer, we are requesting customer data, decision is made, and we send him back to the the mortgage decision. That's for different operation. So now we are analyzing data for different purpose, right? So that's why it's we can share a database, but it's a different functionality, different operation, right? um, so we don't want to delay one operation, right? That's more important. So that's why banks often separate transactional system for reporting system to improve performance and reliability. That's exactly right. So we don't want to delay, like think multiple workers are working asynchronously for like think you take your car to a garage, okay, for repair. If one mechanic going to do right your repair, it's going to take time. But let's imagine we have multiple experts, mechanics going to do. You think about like a Formula 1 race, like a car race, right? Within few seconds they will repair it and put on the track. That's what we have to do, because the business is like a race, right? Like if you cannot meet the SLA, like within 2 seconds or 3 seconds, customer will leave your company, right? There are other competitors, they can make faster services, right? Because data is very important. The reliability, like the response faster. The like, do you like if you withdraw money and the ATM machine is keep on spinning and saying that please hold on, we are processing your request, right? Let's say you can wait 10-20 seconds, but if it is take more than 1 minute, right, like something, will you consider to do banking with the same bank, right? And if the competitor is providing like immediately. So that's why we need to maintain different databases, right? Like databases are like a toolkit, right? Like the operator A come here and get his toolkit and do the job and fix that place, right? Let's say if you combine these two databases together, the worker have the same toolkit, right? Like this person is taking doing the fetching query, and this person also doing the fetching. It's like a taking, let's say here we need a spanner number 5, here we need the spanner number 5. So whoever took first, this guy has to wait. So there's a delay happening here, right? But if you have separate system, this guy got also number 5 spanner, this guy also have 5 asynchronously without interfering to without waiting, and this task happen real time. So that's why we keep the performance and reliability, like availability, like companies, not only the banks, companies keep separate databases. Okay. So number 7, risk calculation engine. David opens another component, risk database, risk calculation engine, risk data dashboard. So he explained this engine applies business rules. Example, if days past due and greater than 90, then risk category high. Usman, I recognize that rule. We documented it during the requirement workshop, right? So David notes exactly business rule become system logic. This is where the business analysis meets technology. Step number 8, final our expected output. Reporting dashboard. This is what where the business sees the dashboard displays, right? Total mortgage exposure, high risk mortgages, delinquency trends, geographic distribution, executive KPIs, MLE, the credit risk manager. The dashboards help us make business decision. We don't care how many APIs were called, right? Exactly, this is your point. We care the numbers are accurate. That's another important lesson. Technology supports the business, it is in the business, right? So your questions before the meeting ends, you ask where does each data file uh, come from, how often, that's the source system, how often data is refreshed, right? How frequently, what happens if an API unavailable, who owns each source system, which microservice calculate risk, which team support production issues. Those are exactly the question I expect from the lead business system analyst. So what you learned today, you don't need to write code, but you should understand source system, integration layer, APIs, microservices, databases, business rules, reporting dashboards. When you understand these concepts, technical conversation become much easier. Okay, so your assignment, draw your own architecture diagram, which you don't need to do um, in your world, but just to understand, because I explained, right? So systems, integration layer, APIs, risk database, risk calculation service, dashboard. Then answer which system owns the mortgage data, why does the reporting application have its own database, why, what what is the purpose of an API, what does the risk calculation service do, why do banks use multiple microservices instead of one large application. Keep your answer simple, the goal is understanding, not memorizing. Okay, so what's coming up next? Tomorrow you will work with directly with the data engineer Emily. So you, sorry, I forgot the data engineer name, but you will work at the data engineer. You will learn how data moves through the system, how to perform data mapping, and how business system analysts use SQL to validate banking data. This is where you will begin thinking like a technical business system analyst. Okay, so one more time, let's reset this application and you can see what steps are happening where. Okay, so mortgage created from the originator system, and mortgage stored in core banking here. Okay, next one, customer profile is loaded, demographics. Okay, next one, collateral value loaded, and API request completed, integration layer, data transformation is completed, and risk database data saved into the risk database. Risk engine now runs and evaluate the data and applying the rules. Okay, so the expected outcome we got is high, dashboard updated here. So this is one entire giant thing happening, it's all connected, but we have different services doing the different jobs efficiently. Okay, so you can see one sample. Top of this risk database, because we have a lot of data here, and we can create multiple rules, and we can play around and create very fancy, very more effective KPI reports top of this database. Okay, so that's end up lesson number 7. So I'll see you guys with lesson 8 with the data analysis. Thank you. In this video we are going to talk about the defect management and the user UAT, the testing. Okay, so yesterday, the previous video, we turned business need into user story. Now we are going to test the flow, but why we have to do, because we are going to launch this product for the users. Like we have final production release go live meeting. So before we take to this stakeholder what we built, we need to thoroughly test the flow if this is working. Okay, and before we go the testing, we need to understand the technical solution first. I think one of the previous video we studied the technical flow, but just a quick reminder how the technical flow is going to work. So we are going to refresh our memory, what's the technical flow, and we are going to remind the SQL validation, what's happening behind the scene, how the data validated. Okay, then we'll come back to quickly the testing flow. Okay, so let's start with the technical solution, right? So technical solution here, okay, and just anything we need to. So we have backend developer, he's asking, can we review the credit risk reporting application will communicate with other system. So credit risk is the application we are working on. So the developer asking, can we review? I want make sure the requirement match the technical design. Okay, so let's review. So you join Alex, David, Emily in development area. So Alex open the diagram. So this is how the application component communicate. Okay. So understanding the microservice communication. So I'll put it in a flowchart diagram and I'll explain you quickly. The credit risk reporting platform built using the microservice approach. So what does it mean from a business perspective? Try to understand what is the microservice. Alex explained, instead of building one large application, okay, we separate different business capabilities into smaller services. So that's the microservice. Micro itself, right? It's a mini manageable technical component. Like think like it's a box, right? So let's go back to Miro. So I'm using Miro. This is a good tool to draw diagrams. Maybe in your organization you'll be using Visio or some other Lucidchart or like any other diagram. But if now if you are practicing, you don't need to spend any money. So just head over to type Miro. Go to this site and you can click here and it will ask your Gmail account. Just put your Gmail account and you can land into this page. So when you land into this page and you see create new, so here you just need to click board. Okay, so it will show something. So you choose this option, create theme board. Okay, so when you create theme board, there are some templates, so just ignore the template. But if you are familiar with working with template, that's okay, but use a blank page. Okay, so I'll close this one, and here you can give a title here, risk application. This is the application we are working. Okay, now you can see shapes and diagrams are there here. Okay, so you can use these shapes, and you have sticky pad. Okay, you have diagrams. So technically I'm going to use the diagram. So think the so I get a microservice. Okay, so this microservice credit, we can name it credit microservice. Okay, credit ms. Okay, so this is a big whole technical component. Okay, so now let's go back to what were it. So credit risk reporting microservice, mortgage data service. So purpose, receive mortgage information, handles mortgage ID, loan balance, payment status. So we have another service, risk calculation service, calculate risk metrics, expose calculation, risk calculation, portfolio analysis. Reporting service, create reports for users, dashboard information. Okay, so what we can do inside this microservice, okay, we can have these are the main feature, right? So we want to receive mortgage information. So let's go back to our we can use, okay, so here I need arrow, just place it here. So we need mortgage data. I'll just write business term. Okay, we need mortgage data. Okay, so this microservice need mortgage data, right? So arrow should point to microservice, right? So arrow should go other way around. Sorry, I created the Control Z. I need to delete this one. So point this here. So let's say this is the mortgage system, mortgage database. From mortgage database to the mortgage data should come here, right? That's the first one, number one. Okay, number one, data. Okay, so you see we receive mortgage data. So how the microservices are working, if you heard the concept of API, so we talk about API. I think in this module also we talk about how the APIs are working. So API is nothing but it's like a messenger when we need to. So let's draw all the component and we can talk about the technical solution. So we have mortgage data service. Okay, so I'm going to copy, just make it this one easy. Okay, so this is the mortgage data service. What else we need here? We need risk calculation service. So these are the once we receive the mortgage data, so microservice has to do let's draw one more rectangular. Okay, you can drag and drop here, but otherwise you can I okay, I want to keep this one like this. Okay, so step one, we get the data. So second one, this process the calculate the risk. So risk calculation. Okay, number two, risk calculation. I just copy. So here number two, I'll put number two, step number two. Okay, so we get the data. So this microservice mean you understand, right? It's a technical component. Micro we add like this is one. If you think the banking application, right? So if you think the banking application, entire big application inside bank, this is one component, right? So there are onboarding, there are other services like credit card, debit card. So we isolate this work within a separate area. So that's why we are using this microservice architecture. Okay. So I have detailed no a detailed video about microservice and API testing. I don't recall it. What is the video name? I think it's a technical technical video. I'll provide the link in the chat. Okay, so you can, there is 10-hour video, so I'm explaining this detail in detail. Okay, so you can go back and watch and get more detail. Let me know in the comments if you have questions so I can create a separate small video. So now the third step, what's happening, let's draw one more component here. Okay, reporting service. So now we have step 3, we need to send this data to reporting, right? So step 1, get the data, do the calculation, send the result to reporting. That makes sense, right? Reporting service. Okay, so that means the dashboard information, right? So who is facilitating this one? So we call as endpoint. So endpoint should be, endpoint mean it's like a gateway, like a, you know, like we have workers. So let's think this is your house. Okay, so in this house, oh no, let's take another example like a supermarket. So this is a supermarket. Okay, we you are selling product, right? So in order to sell product, you need to buy merchandise, right? Like let's say you are selling electronic items. So here, so electronic item, you are not building, you are not producing an electronic, so you buy from a vendor and you sell it. So in order to bring this electronic item, I'll use arrow or something. Okay, I'll take an actor here. I don't know why. Unlock. Okay, it's not allowing me. I need someone to make arrow. Okay, I don't know if it is usable. Okay, okay, saying upgrade. Okay, I don't need. Okay, we can use simple arrow. Okay, so you see this guy ask info. This microservice, your supermarket has a link with the vendor. So this is the guy, vendor. He build he create cell phones. Okay, so let's say he builds cell phones and he sell it to you, right? So the API, let's say this is the messenger. API is the messenger. So you send special request. Hey, I need 5 iPhones, I need 10 Samsung phone, or whatever he is building. So the builder, so whoever the manufacturer, will send you the information, right? Like send you the whatever the product you are asking. So it's a, you send a request, you get a response, right? So you ask 5 cell phone. So let's go to sticky note. Okay, so you send a request. Okay, and 5 iPhones and 5 Samsung or other Android phones. Okay, so this is your request. So vendor will, I'll copy, get another color. This color is good, right? So we'll get this one. So vendor will give us, okay, here are your items. Okay, so he give a response to you. He say, here is the items that you requested. Okay, so you see, this is how it's working. It's, I put simple arrow. So here we are, this guy has a messenger, send this person here, he gave this request, and whoever working there, they receive this information and they prepare the parcel and give to this one. So we can say this is the response. I'm talking about API terms. Okay, there are so many videos about APIs. Let me know if it is not still clear. So what we need to build, we need an endpoint. We call in microservice endpoint. Endpoint mean like this endpoint is this special, let's say this is special door, like a special door, special window, is responsible technical of this credit microservice get the data right from the month. So it's sending request, hey, give me this detail, give me mortgage detail, give me mortgage detail. So it's keep on giving mortgage detail, keep on. So this is happening. So that's one API. I guess you understand. So API is nothing but it's a data transmission between two systems. Okay, it's like a messenger. Okay, so that's happening, first one. Second one, now risk calculation service. So because we don't display everything here, right? We only display past due items only, right? So now the microservice has to do step 2, the business rule evaluation, right? So that's another endpoint. So we need to expand this one a little bit. So I need a separate sticky note here. Business rule. Evaluation. So you don't need to do everything. This is done. This technically, this is done by the solution architect or the technical lead. So here, since I'm explaining, I am all like I am the developer, I am the BA, I am the technical lead, everything. So I'm just try to give an idea what will happen when you start this project. Okay, so business rule, you know, right? If the past due, let me write the business rule also very quickly. Past due days are equal or greater than 90. What we need to do, we need to categorize high risk, right? Rest, medium, or whatever the business rule is written. So let me make it a little bigger so that you can see. Okay, so this is what need to do. So Microsoft, if you don't program it, it won't do anything. So step 2, this is what happening, right? Once we receive the data. So microservice, now let's draw one more. Okay, so it's receiving data and it's calculating the risk. Okay, so it's storing in the database. Okay, that's where this position is happening. All right. Okay, so now reporting service. So this information risk summary sent to the reporting dashboard. So this is very clear after calculate, and it should go to this one, right? So this is our microservice architecture, right? This is our system has to do. This is a business term I explained you. Okay, so API, we have different method, get method, post method, right? Um, oh, like we are fetching the data, right? We are not posting anything. So here we are asking, give me the current mortgage risk summary, right? So it's asking risk summary. So for example, this API is suitable for here. So the from the risk service database is asking, this is the third endpoint, right? It's asking, hey, whatever you calculated, can you give me if there is any calculation detail, right? So that's a get method asking the risk summary. So how much of amount, risk loans, risk level. Okay. So what else purpose of the API? Okay, I'll ignore this one. Error scenario, failure scenario, core banking and mortgage data, but the file contain missing balance, right? So we discussed this about data. So when this validating, we need to flag. Okay, so there is nothing we need to talk about. Okay, so we are good. So one small exercise for you. A microservice represents smaller business. Okay, what's your answer? API allows different system to space with each other. Data validation check whether information is completed, and okay, that's a rules that determine system behavior are called business. Okay, access restrictions are example of blank requirements. Okay, so today we discuss what programming language you are using. So system should reject all failed transactions. What question should be asked, right? Like this is not related to us, but we can ask this question: what programming language you are using, Java or Python? What does the business want to happen when the transaction fails? Can we remove validation? Okay, so these are some questions for you. So here we discuss API requirements, integration scenarios, error handling scenarios, security requirements, and developer clarification. So here what we understand: business explanation, requirement, technical implementation. Okay. So day 9 we'll discuss SQL data validation. So this video already become 20 minutes, so I was planning to do everything together, so I'll stop here and I'll create another video to talk about the data validation, SQL validation, and the defect management, and the production release and business go live. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. So we reached to our final wrap up of our bank risk bank credit risk simulator project. Okay, so we are quickly going to talk about how we can as a BSA, business system analyst, how we can support testing, and also we prepare for the production release, no go live meeting, and also how we prepare our final presentation to the stakeholder. Okay, so let's quickly start talking about testing and defect management and UAT for this project. Okay, so first of all, you need to understand what is testing, right? So how we can involve in testing. So you, as a business analyst, you don't need to do testing, but yes, before you write requirements, you need to make you need to first test the flow, and you can capture the current state, and you can um, write the future state. So but I'll go through a few steps. You need to understand how the testing process work. So first we have requirements, right? So you get the business idea, you convert it into business requirement, then you create the functional requirement, then you go to user stories, right? So once you have the user story, then it's go to the development phase, and here you have SIT, system integration testing. So you have different type of testing, UAT testing. Okay, so first once the development is completed, so testing is nothing but see if that product is working as expected. So let's say if you buy a phone, so first you will quickly unpack and see if that is working. Like if that working, in first step you will switch on the phone and see if phone is switch on. Right after that you will slowly start exploring or navigating, see if the features are working. So that's the testing development team. When they build, they will do a unit testing. Small component when they are developing, they try to see if that component is working. So once they complete that unit testing, they will push to our TQA. Like so this go first, let me write unit testing. So unit testing done by developers, so you don't need to write any test cases. Next it's go to functional testing. So this is done by TQA or QA, quality engineer, anyone you can call. Okay, so this is after this one, this will go. Okay, now here there is something system. So before I go to user acceptance, so let's google it, what is system test, system integration testing. So I'll go to Google and let's type this question, what is system integration testing. Okay, so here you can see SIT. Okay, the system integration testing, quality assurance process to verify the interfaces, data flow and communication between two or more connected system or model, or ensure the functions together causal wall in a whole. Right, so I'll show you what did this mean here. So we have different system, right? So you see when developers are building, they can build this one independently, but in order to see this dashboard, right? So this dashboard, these pieces, it's like a big puzzle. So when start developing, they will build the component separately. Once everything built separately, that should be integrated. So tester has to do integrate end-to-end testing, right? So first they will do a functional testing, see if that particular component is working, and one every piece is put together, so tester has to do the functional testing. So end-to-end testing. So here end-to-end testing. So still tester is doing end-to-end testing. Okay, so now this is completed. So now let's go to UAT. So what is UAT testing? Okay, I will do the same thing. I know you know this one, but just for the exercise, this UAT testing in software development. So UAT stand for user acceptance testing, is the last phase of the testing in software development before the product goes live. So actual users of business client test the software real world setting. Okay, so let's go back here. So user acceptance testing means, let's say the before the phone, let's say you are phone manufacturing company. Okay, so you guys tested the phone is working and functionality tested and all the apps working together. Now before we go, send to actual client, actual customers, you can do a dry run. We usually call dry run or pilot run. You can give to actual like internal employees, maybe subsidies wise or like a free. You can use 1 or 2 month 3, or maybe you can give for the test as a testing device, right? So I'm just taking example. So this is not actual client, these are customer pretending like actual your internal employees pretending like actual clients. They will be using your product and they will give the feedback. So that's the user acceptance testing. So as a BA, you can participate in this activity and make sure whatever you guys build, it's working perfectly, right? So once UAT is passed, and it's we can go to the production release. Okay, So the more testing, more feedback, and the product is stable, and we will have a better user experience when its product go live. Okay. So before so here we don't need to you don't need to write detailed steps, but I will show you how to write test cases here. Okay, so creating test scenarios and test cases important, right? What is the prerequisites required it given, right? So what user has to do, what's the expected result, right? So here report should generate it successfully. Okay, what we need mortgage data when the daily run complete. Okay, so you can write like this for the missing mortgage data, high risk mortgage calculation. So it's pretty much like your acceptance criteria. You can write test cases. So system integration testing, it's same, you need to do end to end. We discussed this one. So defect is, do you know what is defect is? Defect is a bug. That means the system is not behaving as expected. Let's say your phone analogy, right? You are switching on your phone, phone is not switch on, so that's, you cannot complete any testing, right? So that's one defect. So let's say your phone is switch on, you try to click on the browser, browser is not opening. So those are the basic thing. So in software development also there are many defects. So for example, you see mortgage balance is incorrect in CR report, right? These are example for defect. So you don't need to worry about but when the bugs come to you, assigned to you, regression bug or production bug or any type of bug, so you should know how to triage, right? Triage mean like analyze the bug and see if this is a bug, and if you need enhancement, you need to create a user story or production incidents ticket and take back to the developers and do the enhancement and test it and send it back. So important how to analyze the bug or triaging the bug. Okay. Defect analysis, that's what we talk about. User acceptance criteria, we talk about user acceptance criteria. Okay, I'll bypass this one. So we will, so some questions for you. What is this stands for? UOT confirm the solution meet, you can fill the blank. A problem found during testing is called as a BSA help cover the requirements in scenarios. All right. Okay, so I'll jump into next section, production release and the business go live. Okay, so this one, so now let's see, you have completed all the testing, right, including UAT. Now we will have a go live or no meeting. So this is we call production business live meeting. So in this meeting all the stakeholder will participate here. So what will be checked? There will be checklist, requirements, approval, approved, functional, all the testing is completed. Okay, the first step, requirements met, testing is completed, data is, everything is ready, user readiness, right? Like for example, dashboard, operational readiness, support communicator, like a system need to have some security should be passed. Okay, so firewall is in place, and disaster recovery, performance testing is completed. So there is so many checklist. Again, as a BA, you don't need to worry about this, and closely you can work with your technical folks and see if it is a new company, then you need to worry, but if it's the existing company, they are building software for a long time, so you don't need to worry. There are templates and checklists, so you just want to make sure these are just a coordination, but there are some people already assigned, like a product owner or technical owner, technical lead can take care of this one. Okay, that's the deployment review. So usually they will have a relevant plan or deployment walkthrough, and just want to give you so yeah, this is a rollback strategy, right? If this is not go well, and what's the plan B? Okay, so something like that. So these are the issues, who will be on the call on the deployment date, and how post deployment, how we can support, and everything will be discussed if that is everything is meeting the criteria. So everyone agree and this will go live. Okay, so that's how after production go live, we talk about the post-production support, and how they can support enhancement request and how the change requests are processed, and everything will be discussed. So as a BA, sometimes you may not involved, but if you get invite, you can participate in these calls. Okay, that's one. There are some question. Moving an application into production is called what? A backup plan when deployment falls called what's that? After release, the team provide extra monitoring call. You can fill up this one. New business records are released are managed through a meeting. Review project success and improvement is called. Okay, so if you can answer to this question, you should be good. Okay, so final one I want to touch base with you. So how do you prepare a presentation for a project closer, right? Like you can prepare, invite your all, pretty much your stakeholder have more understanding what you have so far built, but you can give a walkthrough because there are other communication needs to happen inside team. So how this process will go, what are the challenges, why we are building, so overall solution overview. So pretty much this stage you have all the documents in place. You can use a conference or PowerPoint presentation just to give a walkthrough to the senior stakeholders. Even this may cover during the go live meeting also, but if you can arrange this call before the production go live call, that would be great. Okay, because you don't want to find anything feedback during this stage. Or you can usually this stakeholder walkthrough will be there after sprint is completed. Okay, because if any feedback received and we need to enhance, so we'll have time still to enhance and test it before we go production live. Okay, so I'll skip the questions at this point because we'll cover more questions in our interview package. Okay, so after this one we'll practice some how we can capture this knowledge in your resume, how we can capture in this one in your LinkedIn, and how we can bring this knowledge and convert it into skills, and how we can sell in the market to place a job. Okay, so I'll see you guys with the interview and LinkedIn optimization video for this project. Thanks everyone.